Welcome back! I hope this video finds you feeling that 2021 is already better than 2020. Regardless, it's time to relax and enjoy your daily Russian math problem. Today's problem is for the 11th grade and comes from the Fiztech Olympiad, year 2007. Here's the problem in its original formulation. The translation will follow shortly, but first, let's get you the daily dosage of Russian you didn't know you needed. Решите уравнение. Логарифм по основанию 11 минус x квадрат от выражения 2 в степени x минус 6 плюс 3 умножить на 2 в степени 2 минус x равен логарифму по основанию x минус 1 от того же выражения. And now the English version. Solve the following equation. The logarithm of 2 to the power x minus 6 plus 3 times 2 to the power 2 minus x with base 11 minus x squared equals to the logarithm of the same expression with base x minus 1. I will now give you a couple of seconds to pause the video in case you want to first try and solve the problem yourself. First, recall that for log of x with base b, the following constraints must hold. X should be larger than 0, b should be larger than 0, and b cannot equal to 1. Based on that, we can now derive constraints on x. From the first base, 11 minus x squared should be larger than 0, so the absolute value of x is less than the square root of 11. Also from the first base, 11 minus x squared should not be equal to 1, so the absolute value of x cannot be the square root of 10. From the second base, we have x minus 1 should be larger than 0, so x should be larger than 1. Finally, x minus 1 cannot equal to 1, so x cannot equal to 2. For the function under the log, we have the constraint that it should be positive valued. Here are all the derived constraints written together. Let's clean up. Equipped with the constraints, we can continue with finding the solution to the equation. We first consider the case when the function under the logs is equal to 1. The log of 1 equals to 0 for any base, which makes this case special. We first multiply both sides of the equation by 2 to the power x, which leads to the following. Rearranging, we get 2 to the power x squared minus 7 times 2 to the power x plus 12 equals to 0. This is a quadratic equation with respect to 2 to the power x. We can introduce a simple substitution, y equals 2 to the power x for convenience, and solve. The solution is left as a small exercise. The two roots are 3 and 4. So for the first root, we have 2 to the power x equals to 3, so x is log of 3 with base 2. This solution satisfies all the constraints. For the second root, we have 2 to the power x equals to 4, so x equals to 2. This violates one of the constraints, namely that x cannot be equal to 2. We found one solution. Let's clean up. We now consider the case when the expression under the logs is not equal to 1. In this case, the bases of the two logs have to be equal. This gives the equation 11 minus x squared equals to x minus 1. Rearranging, we get x squared plus x minus 12 equals to 0. The solution has two roots. The first is x equals to minus 4. This violates the constraint that x should be larger than 1. The second root is x equals to 3. This satisfies all the constraints. The answer to the problem is thus x equals to 3 and x equals to log of 3 with base 2. This concludes today's episode of your daily Russian math. I hope you enjoyed it. Всего наилучшего!